Klee is a primordial one. No, I am not crazy. This is a theory to end all theories. I've cracked the code and I'm about to hand it to you. Are you ready? And make sure to watch the video until the very end because this one requires it to make total sense. Or just check the pinned comment at least. Got it? Let us jump into the past for a little bit. If we were to look back at some older theories within the Genshin lore community, one we wouldn't be able to ignore would be the Project ARK theory. It connects both Honkai impact and Genshin impact, so yes, there will be some Honkai concepts in this video, but I won't delve into them beyond what is strictly needed. If you want a full explanation, I will link videos by other people who have explored this in great detail. But essentially, the people of the previous era and advanced civilization feared that humanity would be destroyed by the Honkai, so they came up with several plans to try and ensure humanity's future. One of them was Project ARK, a spaceship containing a copy of the Human Genome Library. It was sent into space to, hopefully, find an habitable planet where humanity could once again emerge. According to this theory, that planet was Teyvat. However, according to our current knowledge of Genshin lore, this theory has a lot of inconsistencies and plot holes. But that is because there is a missing piece. You see, we knew that it was a single person to have boarded that ship, but eventually their identity was revealed. It was a child named Griseo. She was a super soldier with an interesting ability. She loved to paint, and her paintings could influence the people around her. But within the Elysian Realm, a place where you aren't really in the real world but can explore past memories, this power went further and allowed her to bring her paintings to life. If this ability developed over time and allowed her to shape the real world to her will, then she could have done everything Phanes was described to have done, right? Calm down, I know I just said that Klee was a primordial one, not some other random child, but bear with me, it will all make sense. Also, for a long while, it seemed as though every day we were straying farther and farther from from this Project ARK theory. But it literally just got shoved right back under our noses and you might not even have noticed. Remember the X and Circle cutscene? There is this one symbol that presumably represents all the OG members, except there are 8 of them when we only got the name of 6. Also, notice that the symbol resembles an intertwined fate quite a bit, from the star in the middle to the color scheme. There are 4 witches on the blue side and 4 witches on the pink side. We could try to assign a name to all of them, but we currently have very little info to go off of, and I don't have enough sanity left to try. That said, I will argue that one of these sides contains only mortal witches, while the other is the mortal exclusive zone. Why? Well, we know that Ivanovna and the Ender's daughter died, so definitely mortals. But the other 4 named witches are, as far as we know, alive and kicking. We got Barbeloth, Mona's master, a powerful hydromancer capable of reading the fate hidden in the stars. We got Daughter, associated with the art of creating life through the power of chemia. Then there's Nicole, who is unaffected by the changes in Erminsul and maybe sort of omnipresent, but not really, just to some degree, as she somehow knew Erminsul had been changed after Scaramouche had his mental breakdown and was able to find a traveler and speak directly in their mind from an undisclosed location. And last but not least, there's Alice, who, like her daughter, likes to make things go kaboom and is said to be a very powerful witch. Minus 100 out of 10 would not fight her. 4 immortal witches. 4 shining shades. That's right, I think X and Circle was directly created by the primordial one. These 4 would have come first, and the other mortal 4 would be the first Teyvatian humans to have ever been created. Prototypes to check that there was nothing wrong with the stored DNA, if you will. They would have been kinda like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, directly in contact with the divine and even basking in his power, as we know that at least 2 of them weren't ordinary humans. What evidence do we have to support this theory though? Well, Griseo not only had the tools and possible power to create the current Teyvat, but also the right motif. You see, in Honkai, she's associated with the stars, and if you remember, in Teyvat the stars will always have a place for you. After all, it was built to ensure a safe haven for humanity. X and Circle shares the same motif. Barbeloth deals with the stars in their reading, and the stars are synonym of fate in this strange world. Even past fates, things that have already come to pass. One way of safely recording this past without it being tampered with by changes in Erminsul is to write a children's book, which Ender's daughter did. Speaking of Erminsul, all of X and Circle was said to conduct explorations of it, but like I said, Nicole seems to be invulnerable to any changes, which might actually extend to all 4 shades if they were created directly by Griseo, without relying on anything endogenous to Teyvat, but I digress. Still, you remember how we were all freaking out about the end of Inversion of Genesis when Nicole spoke to the Traveler because we thought she was Istaroth? Well, guess what? We were right. Nicole could very well be Istaroth. The god of time was said to be every moment, which again indicates some sort of omnipresence, at least in the domain of time. This would also explain Exencercle's relationship with Venti. We know they started beef with him for some reason, but ended up becoming friends, with the animal arc and even keeping the secret of their floating island. We know that Venti was originally a wind spirit, one of the Thousand Winds, which in turn have some sort of connection to Istaroth. In fact, they may even have been created by her. So if Nicole is Istaroth, this might all have been a teasing act on her and her friend's part, without any real malicious intent. Just powerful beings having fun. So if Nicole is the Shade of Time, Ryan's daughter must be the shade that was described in the stone tablet before Sun and Moon to have helped the Primordial One create life. She did create Albedo, Sasbedo, and Durin after all. The identity of the other two shades is unknown, so the role Alice and Barbaroth play is unclear, but there are too many connections here for me to dismiss any of this. But what about Fanes though? Griseo doesn't match the description. Well, no, she doesn't, but that might have been a purposeful misinformation campaign. Given her past, she would naturally have been scared of the Honkai making their way into Teyvat, so any knowledge of outsiders would be better left out of her people's minds, especially because at some point the people knew and a second outsider came crashing down, spreading plague and destruction in their wake. I've talked about this before, but the description of the effects of this being lines up perfectly with what forbidden knowledge is described to do. I think any type of knowledge pertaining to the outside world is classified as forbidden, as a means of preventing the Teyvatian civilizations from becoming too advanced and attracting the Honkai, or even to prevent curious humans from looking for a way out. Curiosity did kill the cat, after all. All these nefarious effects might be Griseo's frantic attempts to destroy any forbidden knowledge before it has the chance to spread, which is why she might have retreated and made her shades go undercover after the war with the Second Throne. She learned from her mistakes. This could also be the reason why she started nuking civilizations that got out of hand. She's no longer taking any chances. She already lost a family and a home. No more. Still, there are accounts of the Shades. How come there isn't a single truthful account about Griseo? Well, I don't think she was ever in Teyvat proper. Her Shades might have been her avatars from the get-go and been instructed not to disclose her real identity. So how did she create the current Teyvat? Fanes' myth states that it used a shell from the egg it was born from to separate the microcosm of the world, which is almost surely referring to the creation of the fake sky, meant to isolate the planet from the rest of space. In reality, this could have been made through Griseo's painting ability or through the use of previous era technology, but she might not have ever entered this fake sky. She may still reside outside within the spaceship, and if that is true, it gives the Sustainer a reason to stop the twins from leaving, lest they happen upon Griseo. So if you are wondering who the Sustainer could be, I guess it could be Alice. For someone who has the title of someone who never lies, the first thing she did to the Traveler was trying to deceive them and the rest of the gang regarding her identity. But that's just some food for thought. More importantly, what could Griseo be doing in the spaceship? Remember how Nilo's consciousness was used to support the entire dream simulation the Academia was running in Sumeru City? Griseo might be doing the same to support the human realm. In the Travel trailer, Dane claims that most are content to live and not to dream, but in the hidden corners where the god's gaze does not fall, there are those who dream of dreaming. If dreaming could potentially keep an entire realm going, mankind's arrogation might have to do with it. When the creation wishes to become the creator, that's arrogation right there. This could be giving us a hint about what Khaenri'ah was up to. Speaking of Khaenri'ah, if Ryan's daughter is a shade, how come she was allied with the enemy? Well, was she really? We know she lived among them and was seen as an important figure, but as far as we know, she unleashed her monsters in Teyvat either at the same time or slightly before the Cataclysm and then took off. There are no mentions of her joining the battle anywhere. She presumably left with Albedo, so we can't really know just what exactly she was doing. One way or another, she could have been undercover, just another alchemist, not a god. But going back to Griseo, how come she can't keep the dream going forever? We know it's really taxing on the human body. Without sustenance or proper rest, it eventually leads to death. But not in our Primordial One's case. Like I said, she's a kind of super soldier, meaning she was genetically altered to not age or die. So no matter how many millennia have gone by, she's still the same child she always was. And we do have some evidence that it's her consciousness that is supporting this whole thing. And such evidence comes in the form of trees. In addition to Irminsul, there is at least one important tree per region. There is one in Windrise in Mondstadt, there's a frost-bearing tree in Dragonspine, the tree with blue crystals by Age domain in Liyue, the sacred Sakura tree in Inazuma, and even the tree that supports the Academia and the Temple of Surastana in Sumeru. And trees are a lot like brains. Your neurons, the fundamental units of your brain, have dendrites, three branch-like terminations that they use to communicate with other nerve cells. Even the word dendrite sounds a lot like dendro because that's what it's based on, a tree. Fun fact, trees do communicate with each other via their roots in real life. They can send out distress signals to warn other trees of potential dangers and even share nutrients and water. Similarly, there are ley lines everywhere that communicate with Irminsul and possibly other trees. In neuroscience, there is a saying that states that neurons that fire together wire together. Basically, our experiences, actions, and mainly habits can lead to the formation of new neural pathways that allow us to store and recall certain information with ease and efficiency. So, if these connections were to be destroyed, it could lead to serious impairments, including memory deterioration. So, when information is removed from Irminsul, it could mean Griseo is forgetting about it. However, through her perception of the realm she created, she can also acquire new information and form new pathways, which could explain why the best twin is no longer considered a descender. She came to know of their existence, thus Irminsul started tracking them. So you may be wondering, where does Klee fit in with all of this? Have you ever wondered why her father is never brought up? It's because she doesn't have one. Klee could be a small part of Griseo's essence. Not unlike the whole Nahida Ruka Devata situation, Griseo could not have a normal childhood because of the condition she was born into, but she also cannot grow up physically. Creating Klee as a clueless child might have been her way of experiencing the world she worked so hard to create in all of its childlike wonder. Let's be real, Eggs and Zircle and their tea parties just exude Alice in Wonderland vibes. There's even a children's author among them and someone literally named Alice. This fictional world was a strange but wonderful one, with many dangers and problems only a child would be able to ignore. And so is Teyvat. It's less than idyllic, but not for Klee. She gets to play grown-up with the knights, to blast the poor fish up, and even had Alice set up an entire archipelago so that she could have fun. She also ages slowly, allowing her to make the most of her childhood. Klee might be the happiest character in the entire game, because it's almost as though everything conspired for her to be happy. Which it might. If this theory is correct, Alice isn't a real mother, just Griseo's designated caretaker. She's essentially looking after her own creator, just a smaller, more carefree version. And you know what is really cute? Most children like drawing and painting, but Klee seems especially fond of it. She even made illustrations for the Dotoko book during the Ridori festival. You know who else loves painting? Griseo. So yes, Klee and Griseo are the Primordial One. The four immortal witches are the Shining Shades, the entirety of the human realm is a projection of Griseo's consciousness, and today is April Fool's. So yeah, happy April Fool's, travelers! Did I get you? This is just a crack theory and you shouldn't take any of it seriously. Sorry for misleading you, but I do hope you enjoyed. Oh, and remember to prank someone for me today, okay? Anyway, my name is Blue and I'll see you again soon. Oh, one more thing.